Hi, let's get to work in unlocking some of the tension that you've been holding in your neck and shoulders. My name's Mariah. Welcome to Wealthy Boss. Every week I connect with you through YouTube and my website to bring you a new workout video, yoga, barre, Pilates, also some meditations thrown in. So if that type of thing would be helpful for you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Today we are going to begin our practice standing, but I'd like you to also have a yoga mat nearby, as well as a towel. Just like a simple hand towel from your bathroom is great. You might want to have a couple of blocks nearby, yoga blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. So we'll begin standing actually next to a wall. So go ahead and get positioned so where you can still see the camera, but also be close to a wall. As we find our hand pressing into the side. So we're going to stand perpendicular to the side of the wall and then start to walk the hand a little bit behind you. I'm just going to walk forward since obviously I'm on an angled wall, or an angled wall here. We'll take that hand a little bit behind the shoulder. We still have a bend in the elbow, and then let's start to take the fingertips and turn them slightly behind us. This next step is important. We're gonna rotate away. So you start to take your chest and hips towards me, and then press that hand into the wall. From here, we're gonna start to take some deep breaths. Now, we're actually getting here into the chest and front of the shoulder area, which can oftentimes be a culprit for tension in the neck and shoulders. We may not always feel that our chests are tight, but oftentimes it's going to result in a little bit downstream tension that we feel. So it's important that we not only target the symptoms of where we feel pain or tension, but really where it is underlying and where that problem is originating. So pressing that hand into the wall. You can play a little bit here if you want to experiment, kind of shifting hips side to side, or maybe even dropping the neck down. You can tilt the chin towards the collarbone, or even lifting it up, just finding the kind of the juiciest spot here to really release into the front of the shoulder and the chest. And we're going to press that hand into the wall. Let's find some nice deep yoga breaths in and out through the nose. Feeling that wind kind of constrict at the back of the throat, making the sound of an ocean wave. Noticing if you're clenching in the jaw, seeing if you can relax it a bit. I'll be reminding you of that part a lot today. Breathing deeply into the front of the chest. And then we're going to take it to phase 2. So we're going to take the hand, take about an inch down, and then straighten the elbow just another inch or so. So it's a little micro bend. We'll maybe dial the fingertips back a little bit more. And then if you have a little bit more opening, we'll press a little bit further away from that wall. And again, settling into those nice yoga breaths. Seeing if we can relax into this sensation. I know there's a lot of discomfort here, but seeing if we can just relax into it, knowing how much good we're doing our bodies today. If you feel a little bit of tingling, all good. That's kind of part of the process. It's just a little indication of how tight you are there. Press that hand actively into the wall. And let's move on to phase 3. So from here, we'll take the hand, dropping it as low as the shoulder. We're going to straighten the elbow without totally locking it out. We don't want to hyperextend it. And then dial those fingertips all the way behind you. And maybe you find a little bit more rotation of those hips and shoulders towards me to open up even deeper into the chest and shoulder. Pressing that hand into the wall, breathing through any transformation happening here that might be causing just a hint of discomfort. So So rather than avoid all this tension and tightness that's been accumulating in the body, rather than ignoring it, we're gonna move through it. We're gonna face it head on. Allow it to pass. And allow that hand to go ahead and relax down. Just taking a moment maybe to notice the difference from side to side, and then we'll turn our bodies the other direction to get set up for the other way. So we'll take the hand again, we'll start right next to the wall. We'll take one step out to the side. We'll take the hand behind us. Fingertips are spiraling just a little bit, kind of kitty corner. The elbow is bent and the hand is reaching up at a diagonal, so that elbow is just a little bit higher than the shoulder. We'll start to turn away from that wall, so you can come back to look towards me. And then we can start to experiment with maybe shifting the weight more towards one hip or the other, or maybe we dip the chin down or roll it back to the side. There's no real right or wrong on kind of this shifting of the weight. It's what feels the best to you and allows you to get that best stretch. Remember to press that hand into the wall. Unlocking everything around that heart space, physical and emotional. And let's take it to phase two. So we drop the whole arm about an inch. We're gonna straighten the elbow just ever so slightly, and then start to dial those fingertips back a little bit more. Maybe if we have more opening now, we can rotate a little bit further away from the wall. Again, noticing if you have any type of gripping in other muscles, especially the muscles around the face, as you start to notice the intensity of this, and just see if you can soften into it, please. For phase three, dropping the arm as low as the shoulder. We'll spin these fingertips back behind us, maybe straightening the elbow without hyperextending, maybe find a little bit more rotation. If not, all good, just getting the most stretch possible here. Reactivating that hand into the wall. Nice deep breaths for me to get even deeper into that tissue. Nice, long, silky, smooth yoga breaths in and out through the nose. Final 3 breaths. Release that arm down. Good. Roll those shoulders for me. Hopefully you're already feeling a lot more open. This is a nice one you can kind of sneak into your everyday life. Maybe even if you're at the office, you can stand up and head to a wall. But we're going to do a little bit more of a dedicated practice today. So we have a little bit more work to do. I'm going to meet you down on the ground with a yoga mat and a towel. And then again, if you have those yoga blocks, you can go ahead and set those up as well. And now we're going to be reaching for that towel. And we're going to be utilizing the towel today to get a little deeper into our stretches. So unfolding it once, we're then going to refold it so it's nice and long. We're going to reach the arms just gently in front of us. Start to deepen into your inhales and your exhales as you slowly raise that towel over your head. Now, depending on how tight you are, it may not be comfortable to take the towel all the way up over the head without feeling like you have to shrug the shoulders. We do want to prioritize leaving those shoulders down around the ears. If you need to have a little mini bend in the elbows to keep those shoulders back down, that is all good. Now we're starting to pause in that first place that we feel any tension around the shoulders, the chest, the neck. And give me some deep cleansing yoga breaths as we dispel any of that tension. If you have the opening, you could even start to take the towel behind you. But again, noticing if those shoulders start to come up, not worth it. We'd rather have them down, or maybe even just the subtlest little bend in those elbows. The deeper that we breathe, the more we'll be getting into that chest space. Of course, our daily habits don't do a whole lot to help open up the chest. Oftentimes we're kind of rounding over our computers, our devices, our steering wheels. And then emotionally too, whenever we feel the need to protect, the need to hide, any feelings of fear, that's going to cause even more constriction around the chest as we physically close off that heart space. So as we physically release the tissue around, we're also opening up into our emotions, because our emotions do follow the patterns set by the body and vice versa. Finding 2 or 3 more deep breaths here. Gently coming up, we'll stop when that towel is over the head, or maybe it never left, and then gently drop that towel over to the right. Now again, notice if that shoulder tries to hunch up, send it down away from the ear. We can put a little bend in the elbow if this is too intense. Nice deep breaths here, please. Unlocking everything underneath that left armpit into the lats, which again can be where a lot of neck and shoulder pain originates. So we want to attack it from the source. And then gently making our way over to the other side. So again, noticing if that shoulder comes up, let's try to send it down, even if that means we need to put a bend in that elbow. Sending your neck and shoulders and whole upper body just love for how much it gets you through, how much it does for you. Giving all that tissue now a chance to release any tension, a chance to dissipate, dissolve. Okay, let's come back up. Now we're going to drape that towel around our neck, just like we had a nice sweaty workout. Now follow along carefully. We're going to utilize this to help stretch and elongate our neck. It's going to feel amazing, but I want you to go slow enough to really gauge how much pressure or how much pull and extension is the right amount for you. So with the left hand, I'm going to have you kind of pull down a little bit so that it's slightly uneven. It's a little bit lower on the left, a little bit higher on the right. Now we're gonna cross, stay with me here, we're gonna cross left hand over to hold on to the right. And then obviously we're picking up the opposite side with the free hand, but rather than take it across the neck, we're just gonna lift it straight up. We're gonna try to position it over the ear, so just right over the ear. And again, if that's too tight on your shoulder, you can actually wiggle this side up a little bit higher so that you have more room to work with. You could also take a longer towel if you're finding that this is not super comfortable on the shoulders. So with that top arm, I'd like you to just lift. It's not so much pressing it down as pressing it up. So you want to think about drawing that top temple up to the ceiling. A little gentle tug of that bottom hand is going to serve to help elongate into that neck. Now I'd like you to go really relaxed with the jaw, so we can further relax into all that musculature along the side of the neck and the face. And you're just gauging how much the body is ready for in terms of how much pull you're giving. It's a very gentle, subtle pull. Again, almost like you're trying to lift that temple up to the ceiling as opposed to dropping that shoulder down or ear towards shoulder. A nice deep breath, and you'll feel a little bit more of a sensation around the side of the neck. We're getting really deeply into the sternocleidomastoid muscle. It's a really fibrous muscle that extends all the way from the front of your chest, collarbone, to the back of your suboccipital ridge, and it can become so tight. Again, both our emotions and our daily habits can serve to kind of exacerbate this response, so we want to go super gentle and then just give it a chance to unwind as we breathe, patiently giving it permission to let go because it's been gripping and holding on for a while. And now we're gonna take it from a slightly different angle. We're gonna take that towel and wrap it slightly behind the ear, so it's just kind of coming up along the back edge of the skull, and then we'll slightly pull forward, so it's up, remember, and forward as you feel that chin start to touch down towards the collarbone or towards that bottom edge of the towel. You should be feeling a little bit more of a stretch along the back of the neck. Again, breathing deeply into it to get more out of it. Noticing how much your body invites you to go deeper into the pose, but never forcing. This is an intense stretch, and if we really kind of grip and force, we can do more harm than good. We don't want to hurt our neck. It's very gentle. It's very vulnerable. So rather than forcing, we're just patient. We relax into it. We have another variation we're going to try on this side. We're going to wrap that towel now slightly in front of the ear, and then as we start to tilt it back, it may even kind of just slide up around the front of the temple, so kind of going along that outer edge of the jaw up to the cheekbone, and then feel that temple pulling up and back as that chin slightly lifts. So really elongating along the front of the major neck muscles there. It should feel so good, but a little bit intense also. Breathing into any tension. Seeing if you can separate the top teeth from the bottom teeth to encourage the jaw to relax. And then we want to come out of this super slowly, so stay with me, allowing the head to still remain tilted to the side. Go ahead and relax the towel away from that top hand, and then the other hand gently relaxes. Now the same side hand, we're going to take those right kind of to the middle finger and the pointer finger, take it to the temple, and actually assist. So rather than the neck muscles, you're actually assisting with the arm. Go really slow, please. You probably don't even realize how much we just released in the neck, so it does tend to be a little bit more vulnerable there. So take a moment, grounding down. Nice deep inhale through the nose, maybe even sighing it out through the mouth. Let's make the other side feel just as good. So this time we'll go a little bit shorter on this side. Good. And then wrapping right hand around that shorter side, we'll grab hold of the free hand, but that rather than taking it across, remember we're not taking it across, we're just lifting it straight up. We're going to position it over the ear. And then it's like you're lifting up, up, up with that towel, and then just slightly to the side. Nice deep breaths for me. Remember, that breath is life. The more you breathe, the better you're gonna live. So the opening of the neck muscles happens in layers. You might find after 5 or 10 breaths that the body is ready to maybe lean a little bit more to the left, but it's probably like by virtue of like a millimeter. So we go so slow. We listen to the body instead of telling it what to do. wrapping that towel around the back of the ear, so it's just maybe slightly overlapping the very back portion of the ear. We feel it kind of cradling the back of the skull, and then we start to pull slightly up and forward with that towel as we feel that chin kind of dipping towards the collarbone. And you can experiment whether it feels better to have, you know, the chin a little bit more angled up or down. Just see what feels like the best stretch for you. Thoughts start to wander, see if you can just bring them back to relaxing the neck and relieving any tension. Great. Now we'll rewrap. This time we're coming slightly in front of the ear, maybe even sliding up towards the temple, and then allowing that chin to lift up, settling back into it. Relaxing the hand away from the towel. Remember, we're going to allow the head to stay tilted down, relaxing the arms down, taking the bottom middle finger and pointer finger, gently elevating that head with this help of the hand. Whew. Take a moment here. Change is happening. It is also good for us. And now we're going to make our way down onto our chest. So you can let go of that towel. And we're going to position ourselves onto our bellies. And then let's start with that forward hand. We're going to take it out to the side in like a little cactus arm shape. So the elbow is perpendicular to the shoulder and the forearm is perpendicular to the elbow. From here, we're going to take a little kind of tent fingertips on the other side, pressing ourselves so that we're rolling off to the side. That top foot lifts up and over, and then maybe it finds the ground. You can take it a little bit lower if you're having a hard time reaching, or you could even put a block underneath that foot if you're having a hard time, if you're a little bit too tight around the waist and low back. Now, ways to kind of adjust this feeling. If it's too intense on the shoulder, you can kind of start to creep that elbow forward. If you want a little more opening in the chest, you can have it a little bit closer to that kind of 90-degree angle, and then you're pressing with that opposite hand to get a little deeper into this rotation. Major chest opener. So although again this practice is designed to relieve tension in the neck and shoulders, you'll notice that over half of this practice was all about releasing the chest, because many times that's where the true issue resides. So rather than just treating the symptoms, we want to find all the way into the root cause. Breaths here as you melt into that chest. Nice. Go ahead and roll out of that. We're going to get repositioned on the other side. So again, kind of perpendicular would be that starting point. Kind of shift the hips over and then come on to tippy fingers. We're going to reach that leg behind us. Again, it can come to a block if this isn't comfortable at all in the low back. Noticing that other shoulder is hunching up. Try to send it down away for me, please. Deep breaths. nicely done. Go ahead and take that leg back down. And we're gonna end with a child's pose, but we're gonna add a little element for the neck and shoulders. Now, if you have the blocks, you can experiment. You may want them or you may not. It could be that you're feeling a little too tight to have this be comfortable for you. So I'm gonna show you with and without. So first of all, we come onto the mat, just a typical child's pose, but then we're gonna add something different with the arms. We're gonna keep the elbows pressing into the mat, palms touch, so we take them together, so we're forming a little kind of triangle between the elbows and the fingertips. We're gonna press the elbows down, that part's important, and then start to lift the shape of the prayer hands until the bottom of your palms, kind of the heel of your hand, is right above the back of the head. Now you can experiment, you don't necessarily need to go all the way back, it might actually lose some of the juice. Just kind of hovering right above, and then again dropping the elbows down is gonna kind of pin the shoulders a little bit further down, getting more into it. If this already feels like it's a lot, feel free to stay here. You could also kind of extend the fingertips slightly forward to alleviate some of that pressure. But if you're like, oh yeah, this is good, I want more, take those blocks and you're gonna take them into almost a little triangle shape, but leave a little space between them probably. And then kind of wiggle forward so that the shoulders are reaching towards the ground, but the elbows are lifting them up slightly. So chest melts down below the shoulders now, pressing elbows down. And again, if this is too much, just leave the elbows on the ground in that variation that I showed you before. Nice deep breaths here. So we are also elongating in the low back, actually all along the back, but then that little special focus on the shoulders is really opening everything up for us. Melting into the mat. And if you're having a hard time finding your hips all the way to meet the heels, you're welcome to tuck a blanket between the heels and the seat to form a little shelf. That can feel nice too next time you do this. Good, pressing those elbows into either the blocks or the mat, whatever you're working with. Deeper. Letting it all just wash away. Last 5 or 10 deep breaths here, please. Pressing those elbows back down. And then gently lifting up, peeling up to that seated position. Maybe just experimenting a little bit, finding that new opening, that new freedom around the neck and shoulders. It's been my pure joy to guide you through this practice. If you are wanting to get consistent with your yoga practice or any mindful movement practice, and you happen to be doing this at home these days, I have a resource I made just for you to help you set up your space at home in a way that is inspiring, in a way that gives you all the tools that you need to get a really effective and also that motivational time to work out from home. Because sometimes, you know, if we don't have the right space around us, it can kind of not be quite as I don't know, it can be hard to find our motivation for it, right? I hope I'm not alone in that. So in case I'm not, I created a special resource for you. And this is my at-home fitness guide. It is chock full of some of my favorite design inspiration to create a beautiful at-home fitness studio for one, as well as space-saving solutions in case you're like me and you have to kind of convert your space to serve multiple functions. I also have some little tips and tricks for adding some really special little details to make it feel special and high-end, as well as some resources for helping you stick with a schedule, which can maybe be the most challenging part when it comes to working out from home. So you can find that at wealthyboss.com/home, or I'll link to that in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If this video was helpful for you, could you please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with someone else who might use a little bit of rest and relaxation in these trying times that we're living in. Thank you so much. I hope to hang out with you again soon.